my dad, he served 2 terms in Arkansas in politics. I have to clear that, make that clear. Not in prison. Not really a big difference in Arkansas. We're going to stand for life. We're going to stand for marriage. We're going to stand for what the Bible teaches, and we're going to do that unequivocally. We agree to stand up against the injustice and the evil. There's an agenda right now to silence people of faith, or a Christian florist who's forced to provide flowers for a same-sex wedding, violating a religious conscience.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday, June 27th, 2023, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Mr. Duggar, James Duggar, had some visitors on Sunday morning, and yesterday we talked about how there was a follow-up call by the Washington County Sheriff's Office at 8:26 a.m. on a Sunday morning, which a lot of us thought was a really bizarre. Now, we discussed some options of what could be happening. There could be a new investigation. Someone could have been injured. There could have been a fight. There could have been a disturbance. Someone could have passed away. There could have been a million reasons why police would show up. But the fact that it was so early on a Sunday had people scratching their heads. They felt like either something very serious had happened or they were trying to catch the Duggars off guard. Either way, police did make contact with the Duggars that morning, and they were still able to get to church less than an hour after police left their home. Yeah. And the news is not that anyone is under investigation. It is not that Anna Duggar suddenly is going to allow her kids to be evaluated. It is most certainly not that James Duggar suddenly got in trouble for all the noise he creates in his neighborhood when he rams all the cars together, or the mysterious YouTube videos that are all deleted because he kept getting accused every other week of breaking laws on his YouTube channel. Not that. It has to do with a relative that literally no one knows anything about, a brother of Mary Duggars, who tragically lost his life on a Sunday morning, and his husband is the one that called for help. So let's dive into today's topic. Before we do, can you please do me a big favor and give this video a thumbs up? Also, please subscribe to my channel if you have not yet subscribed by clicking on the subscribe button down below. Make sure to click on the bell so you get notified of any time I go live or new content loads, and make sure to leave a comment if you have something to say. Yesterday, I let you guys know that I had made a request to the Washington County Sheriff's Office for a Freedom of Information Act related to the call that occurred at the Duggar home on Sunday morning. Earlier this afternoon, while I was in the middle of editing my last video, I received an email from an individual that manages the records at the Washington County Sheriff's Office with something that was a little bit confusing. It included this notice of this person that I had no idea who he was, going to a house for a medical emergency, and then the last item was going out to the Duggars house, and a notice that they were going to contact the Duggars, but there was no notes. And in the write-up, in the initiative, or in the narrative written by police, the Duggars weren't even mentioned, so I was so confused. But here's what happened. Mary Duggar has a younger brother. His name was Tommy Lester, that is. I wish I had a photograph of him, but even his obituary doesn't contain a photo. Tommy was married to a man named Lawrence, and Lawrence and Tommy were living together in Fayetteville. So he was living with his husband in Fayetteville, Arkansas. So Tommy was 75 years old, and his husband, Lawrence, was 72. So apparently, this is what the police report says. At approximately 6:13 a.m., I was dispatched to this address, and I arrived at the scene at 6:26. I made contact with the first responders. I arrived on scene prior to CEMS. The first responders had located Tommy Lester, white man, 75, in the master bedroom of the residence. First responders moved him to the living room and attempted life-saving medical treatment on him. And I was told they attempted life-saving medical treatment until Tommy passed away. I made contact with Tommy's husband, Lawrence. Lawrence stated that Tommy had not felt well and fell down multiple times the night before. Lawrence told Tommy he would take Tommy to the hospital. Tommy stated he did not want to go and be placed in a nursing home. Lawrence stated Tommy was in the bathroom this morning and he heard Tommy ask for help. Tommy had fallen in the bathroom against the door. Lawrence forced his way into the bathroom and Tommy was unresponsive. He contacted CEMS. I asked Lawrence about Tommy's medical history. He stated he was not diagnosed with any medical conditions. He explained that Tommy's memory had been getting worse and he had fallen down more often. Tommy's body did have bruises in the early and late stages of healing, which was consistent with his statements of him falling down. And he said that he had all of Tommy's prescribed medication in a box in the living room. So when the coroner got there, they said that his passing was not suspicious and that it appeared that he had passed from natural causes, and they took his remains, and basically what they deemed it was cardiac failure. He passed away tragically in the morning at 6:26 or so, 6:30 a.m. And then a couple hours later, they go to the Duggars' house to do a next of kin. Death notification was made. So they go to the Duggars' house at 8. They leave to go to the Duggars' house at 8:26 and they make a death notification. It looks like they had trouble getting in touch with them initially, and then they had listed a couple of phone numbers where they might be able to contact the Duggars, and that was it. So that was the extent of what happened with the investigation. So tragically, Tommy Lester passed away on Sunday. So Tommy was married to Lawrence, and he was the younger brother of Mary Duggar. So I was able to find Tommy's obituary, and it says, Tommy Wayne Lester, age 75, passed away on June 25th, 2023 at his residence. He was born on April 28th, 1948 in Perry Grove, Arkansas, to the late William Thomas Lester and Ellen Mae Lester. He graduated from Fayetteville High School. Tommy honorably served in the U.S. Navy aboard the USS Henderson during the Vietnam era. He will be remembered as a kind, gentle, and intelligent man, and he was preceded in death by his sister, Mary Lester Duggar. Tommy is survived by his spouse, Lawrence Nestrud, two siblings, Billy Lester of Farmington and Connie Beard and her husband, Lane of Pea Ridge, Arkansas, and a host of extended family members. Graveside will be at 11:30 a.m. on Thursday, and Pastor Ben Seewald will be officiating the service at the cemetery. So they're not even really having a funeral. They're just having a graveside memorial. Military honors will be rendered by the U.S. Navy Honor Guard and American Legion Post 100. Arrangements are under the directions of Heritage Funeral Home. So Ben Seewald is going to be giving the graveside memorial for Tommy Lester. But the weird thing is that they have Ben doing the service. I don't know if you know anything about Ben, but Ben is extremely homophobic. And he regularly preaches about the dangers of drag queens. He's done videos where he tells people to pray away the gay, that being gay is a sin and it's not what God's design is. He has a whole video with Owen, that dude from... I don't even want to know I can never say his last name correctly, but he's just a pompous little peanut, I'll say. And he and Pompous Owen go on and on and on about how being gay is wrong and it's not in the design of God, and that you should just not give in to these feelings that you have, and that you can just, you can overcome same-sex attraction is what they call it. And then he has regularly recently at his church in Fayetteville, in Springdale actually, been speaking about the dangers of drag queen story hours and transgender youth. Yeah. So Ben being super homophobic is just such a weird choice to me, but it smells all like Jim Bob. My guess is that Jim Bob's own pastor probably wouldn't do the service, and so somehow he's getting Ben to do it for him. And I don't believe that this guy went to church with the Duggars, because when I reached out to Amy Duggar King this afternoon, she told me that the entire family had been estranged from Tommy for decades, and that he had kind of moved on and gone the other way. Now, it would be easy to say that he would be estranged from the family and moved on and gone the other way, or it could be more probable that Tommy being gay was an issue for the family. And obviously, with the rampant homophobia in this family, they're not the most kind to their gay family members. If you remember, Michelle has a sister that's gay that she doesn't even acknowledge, like has no relationship with and has nothing to do with. So now Mary's brother is gay. Nobody knows he exists. And now you're going to have homophobic Ben Seewald giving the service. And the fact that Jim Bob was the next of kin was really astonishing to me, because apparently they're estranged from him. And I contacted Deanna. She hadn't heard anything. And Amy mentioned that they hadn't heard anything. So Jim Bob got the notification that his uncle passed away. He doesn't tell anyone else in the family. And then he elicits his homophobic son-in-law to do the graveyard memorial. Like, not even giving this proper Navy veteran a proper funeral. It's sad. So when I shared this on my Instagram, someone said, nothing hypocritical about Ben. Weird choice. This is just bizarre. I hope he chooses his words wisely, says another person. His husband should not allow him to say one word, or I would have 2 openly gay men block the door. I'm sure the service will involve a lecture on the sins of homosexuality, condolences to his spouse. Wow, someone against gay people officiating the funeral of a gay man. Make it make sense. How convenient, insert church lady voice. Maybe they think having a cult member preach the funeral will get him into heaven. Hypocrites. Gonna be a bunch of shocked IBLP if they make it to heaven and find it full of people that sinned differently than them. So obviously the choice of using Ben is just really astounding. And my thought here is that I don't know anything about the money side of things, but Jim Bob was the trustee of Mary Duggar's estate. And so I'm assuming they probably reached out to Jim Bob because Jim Bob was in charge of Mary's estate. So probably notifying Mary's next of kin of the death of her brother. And because he was in charge of Mary's estate, he's probably going to be putting together this funeral, which is probably why he's not paying for much other than a graveside, which just makes me sad. Like, someone that served in the military and served in Vietnam should have a rightful funeral and should have a pastor that speaks at his funeral that is accepting. And then the sad thing is that, Amy's telling me that no one in the family even spoke to this guy, and they had all been estranged from him for years, and that he just went off and did his own thing. And it's probably because he was gay. This family does not accept gay people. It's just so sad. My heart goes out to Lawrence. I'm sure it was such a horrific day on Sunday to watch your loved one in such a state. And I'm sure it was just so sad to realize that there was nothing he could do to help. And then also to know that he tried to get him to the hospital and he just wouldn't go there. And then to just have it end this way, it's got to be so heartbreaking for him. And I'm sure at this point he's just taking whatever help he can get. I hope when he has more foresight, like in the future, he can realize like it's just another way that Jim Bob is taking advantage of him. And I hope to whatever is out there in this universe, that Jim Bob stays away from any money that this man has, any military benefits, any life insurance. I hope Jim Bob has nothing to do with it. Something about this makes me very uncomfortable because of his involvement. And he's, when his mother died, he was all up in his mom's estate. He took all of the properties. He handed basically nothing to Deanna. He just liquidated all of her assets for himself and gave nothing to anyone else. And I hope he doesn't do this to this poor man. Tommy, you are a warrior. You bravely served our country. I'm so sorry for the way that your life ended, but thank you so much for your service. And rest in peace, Tommy, and our condolences to his husband, Lawrence. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.